Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming back to the channel. A little surprise content for you right now. This is Between the Ropes, news and rumors, update and review. There's some things going on right now this week that I really want to talk about. And I wanted to give more content to the channel because we want this channel to grow. And I appreciate everyone who subscribed. We're growing something here. It's starting small, but it's going to get bigger. I got to thank all my friends over at the Joe Cronin Show and Tommy C over at Shot from the Point, and all those guys been real supportive, and we're all really trying to work to grow something, a community. So I'm really appreciative for all you guys checking out. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Let's pass this thing around. Let's grow this thing together. As you can see, I'm draped in gold because I am your internet wrestling champion. And I just want to come on here and talk about a few things. So some interesting things happened on SmackDown. This is a little bit of a spoiler for those of you who do not want to hear. Please go away. No, don't go away. I'm just kidding. It's not that big of a spoiler. It's just a couple things. First, all right, Big Show came out to start the show and basically told everybody that Daniel Bryan will be out even longer because he needs yet another elbow surgery. Now, this is good and bad because at least it's not another neck surgery yet. However, an elbow surgery on top of what he already had, which he had Tommy John surgery. That's a pretty serious elbow surgery. So if that's what they're having to do is redo it, he could miss another six, 7 months. And it could be even longer before he's right. And I think the questions that really leads to is, how is his neck doing? Because they're talking about his elbow, but I'm more concerned about that neck. His moves, the moves that he does, are such high impact on his neck that's what they need to be focusing on. That's what we need to have an update on, because my personal opinion is I think it's quite possible that Daniel Bryan is done. I know that a lot of people are going to be pissed off at that, but the guy he's not built as a wrestler. People can say that there's a lot of guys out there who are smaller that have had long and successful careers, but you think about some of those top guys who have had it, even Shawn Michaels, who is quite a bit bigger than Daniel Bryan, at least in full stature and everything back in his day, and I would argue that a better athlete too. Shawn missed a lot of time in his career due to injuries, and he's considered a smaller guy, and his body couldn't hold up to the rigors and everything, the strain that goes on your body from what they do. Daniel Bryan arguably wrestles a more reckless style than Shawn ever did, and he's smaller. He's not much bigger than Rey Mysterio, it seems sometimes. Yeah, he might have a little bit more weight than he does, but he's a few inches taller than him. He's a small guy, and he's in there with some of the best in the world, and he gets tossed around. And the moves that he does put so much strain. So the question now becomes, is this the end for Daniel Bryan? Is it over? And I have to think that there's a good possibility that for his continued health and for the quality of life that he wants after the WWE and wrestling, that maybe he should, maybe for a couple of years, pull a Shawn Michaels, go away for a year or two. I know he's been out for a long time, but I don't think there's no point in bringing him back for this WrestleMania. There's just no point, because who's he going to wrestle? I mean, you could do a surprise at the Rumble, but I don't see why risk something for a match that's not going to be properly built. So I don't really get the whole let's rush him back, let's get him in the Royal Rumble and let's get him into WrestleMania. I don't get that. Now, that being said, he can do things like Shawn Michaels did when he was hurt. Because even though that time that he missed, the almost 5 years, he was on shows quite often. He had a commissioner gig. He had a whole bunch of things. So it's been kind of surprising to me that Daniel Bryan hasn't been on at all. I didn't quite get that, why we're seeing nothing from Daniel Bryan. So just something to think about. Is it the end? Only time will tell. Please go ahead and comment in the comment below. Tweet me at DeadOnDaveV. Leave your comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Second spoiler from SmackDown is and there's my wife coughing in the background. It's okay. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. It's okay. She's doing everything she can. It's so cute. It's so cute. Anyways, the second SmackDown spoiler is Rusev came out after once again beating up on poor Great Khali. God, isn't that sad? He's so big. He's so big, yet so useless. I just feel bad for the guy. He comes out and he cuts a promo basically stating where he is setting his sights. And it is Sheamus and the United States Championship. America, I crush you and I take the United States Championship belt. Stupid Americans. That's basically what Rusev says, and that's what he's going to try and do. Now, Joe Cronin and I talked about this at length on both the Raw review and the Hell in a Cell review about Rusev and where he should go. We both didn't think this was a good idea to feud with Sheamus. In fact, neither one of us really thought that was going to happen because of the fact that Sheamus never loses. Sheamus has been a do-nothing United States champion, and they seem to always protect this guy because he sells merchandise. He's a fucking Muppet. You know, he's a giant goddamn Muppet. He's not what he was when he came into it. His matches are not inspiring. They're boring. He's a 5-move type of guy, and it's you know, he can be more. That's the sad thing. He can be more. Now, here's where I'm okay with this feud being pushed forward. If they're going to allow Sheamus and Rusev to actually have a feud, like really wrestle some matches, and we get to see some creativity from Sheamus and maybe a little more longevity in matches from Rusev, who has not had to get really pushed. You know, people can say, oh, the Big Show took him. No, man, those were 5-minute matches. There was nothing special. Same thing with Henry. Rusev never had to show any real moveset depth or anything. He might have to do that against Sheamus. So maybe we're going to see a little bit more out of Rusev and get a little more excited about this guy. This also could mean that Sheamus is getting a push to the main card again and getting him off the mid card, and that's a possibility. I always thought that he would be a great contender for Lesnar. I don't know if that's going to be happening, but maybe they can even go ahead and throw him somewhere into the Intercontinental title picture. Actually, and when I think about it, I'm not sure how long it's going to take Rusev to take the title off Sheamus, because I have a feeling Sheamus is going to wind up on John Cena's team at the Survivor Series. So maybe they're going to prolong the Rusev thing. Maybe Rusev will end up being on the Authorities team. I'm not sure. There's a whole bunch of uncertainties at this point. But speaking of that Survivor Series match real quick, you know, people were talking about how Ziggler, Joe Cronin made a comment in particular about having Ziggler on the John Cena's team is really good because it's going to put emphasis on the Intercontinental title. Well, I was thinking about that. And they're punishing Ziggler really hard right now for siding with Cena. So logic dictates, I got a feeling, by the time some Survivor Series rolls around, he ain't going to have that title. I think they're going to take it off of him. I think that's what they do in these situations. You know, it's going to be one of those, you're going to have to defend your title in 3 stages of hell against every legend in WWE history, you know, in a gauntlet match until he loses the belt. Or you're not going to be on Cena's team. And you know, Dolph might think about it for a second and then decide, you know what, I'm not going to do that to Cena. You could punish me, but you can't hold me down. I'm going to steal the show, blah, blah, blah. And he's going to lose the belt. I think that's quite a big possibility of that happening. So we'll see. A lot of ups and downs there. We'll see what ends up happening. All right, the next big thing I wanted to talk about is something Joe Cronin covered last night, and that's the Kurt Angle going back to TNA. Now, this is to be almost a done deal. It's everybody's reporting it. I mean, that doesn't always mean a definitive, but when this many people are reporting it, it seems like it's about a reality. And unfortunately, it seems kind of like it was written on the wall from the very beginning. It didn't ever really make sense for Kurt Angle to go back to the WWE. Now, a lot of people wanted him to. A lot of folks out there defend Kurt Angle's run in TNA. I think his entire run in TNA has been garbage. I really do. You could tell he's been hurt. He has, like, the entire time he's been there. I don't feel like his matches have been all that great. He's wrestled some good talent, but nowhere near the amount of talent that he had when he was wrestling in the WWE. That's just facts. It's just how it is. People could talk all this shit about Bobby Roode being an elite wrestler. It's not fucking true. Bobby Roode is not a fucking elite wrestler. It's just facts. He's not. He's not that great. He's okay. He'd be a mid-carder in WWE, even back in the heyday when all the stars were there and the talent was there. It's not now. But even nowadays, I don't see Robert Roode being a top guy in WWE. His talent is not there. He's a good wrestler. He's not a great wrestler. He's a good entertainer. He's not a great entertainer. In fact, most of the time I find him quite fucking boring, to be completely honest. But people want to always push all these things about how Angle's had great matches with a lot of great talent in TNA, and it's simply not true. He's become a spot monkey. And I say that with love, because I love spot monkeys. I mean, AJ Styles, in some respect, now this is going to really piss people off, but in some respects, AJ Styles is a spot monkey type of guy. TNA is filled with spot monkeys, guys who just go up there and just grip it and rip it and take ridiculous risks. Kurt Angle has kind of turned into that guy. We're doing moonsaults off of cages at 40 years old. And by the way, those moonsaults that he was throwing, he wasn't fucking landing. The guy doesn't have it there anymore. So to think that he was going to go back to the WWE and play a big part at this stage in his career after he already burned them in the past was kind of a stretch, but we all wanted it. We all wanted to see Kurt back in the WWE, and for a lot of reasons. I mean, he deserves to go out with a little bit of respect. He's a Hall of Famer. All the stuff I just said about Kurt Angle, I don't give a shit. The stuff he did in WWE before, and to an extent some of the things he's done in TNA, has warranted a Hall of Fame spot, and he's going to get it, and it's well-deserved. He's a great, great wrestler. But it's going to be one of those cases where we're going to be looking back at the end of the day and saying, well, what could have been? What could have happened had he not had so many problems and he had not decided to run off and join TNA after Vince decided that he wasn't medically cleared or medically ready to continue on in WWE. What if he just would have took a year break and got healthy and then came back to WWE and continued his run? Wouldn't that have been fucking awesome? Wouldn't that have been fitting for a guy like Kurt Angle to not sit in TNA for the last 6, 7, 8 years like he has, toiled down there and done basically fucking nothing? Yeah, go ahead, comment in there, the Main Event Mafia, what the fuck ever. Main Event Mafia was fucking lame. It was so lame. Oh, here's what we'll do. Everybody wear suits, and everybody talk with a Italian accent. Even Booker T, you try to do it. Might as well. You were a fucking regal king for a while. What the fuck? It was just retarded. It was really bad. It was so annoying. But that being said, I would love for this to not be true, because I'd like to see him come back in some form to WWE, but it doesn't look like it. This is a TNA move, and that's why it makes sense even more. TNA's big announcement. Let's bring back somebody who hasn't gotten the company over since he's been here. That's our big move. That's our big announcement. Fucking Dixie Carter, you make me sick. Stop saying you have big announcements when they're not big announcements. Bringing in a guy who has failed to get your company over, who one of the biggest names in the industry has failed to get you over for a fucking reason. It's because he's not physically healthy, and he's still not. And on top of it, you don't have the talent around him to give him the matches that people will really give a shit about. Yes, is it lovely when you're 300 people in your TNA arena, in your Impact arena, fucking chant TNA and this is awesome? Does it sound great? Sure. But we're not fooled. Some of you may be fooled. I'm not. I'm not fooled. I never have been fooled. That's why the ratings are so goddamn bad, not just in TNA, but in all of wrestling. The industry's at a down point, and TNA can't even compete now when the WWE is at its most vulnerable, and they can't compete now. If WWE would get off their ass, they could put their foot on the fucking throat of TNA and call it a day. But they don't. They don't, and it drives me crazy. Why? Because they're not threatened. They're still making money. They're still making money. People could say about the ratings, and I'm about to talk about the ratings, segue into it. See how I do that? Segue smoothly into the next thing. But people could talk about the ratings being down, but the reality is, even with the ratings being down, they're still number 2 every Monday night. 1, 2, or 3. They're up there as far as overall numbers go. So that's what I want to segue into for the final story I want to talk about is, once again, the Raw ratings drop. They pulled a 2.71 in the ratings. However, that being said, the number of total viewers went up, and they were number 2 overall for the night on cable, behind Monday Night Football, that pulled an 18 point something million viewers. Woo! Woo! That was a lot of viewers. Lots of viewers. So it's just an interesting thing that we talk about viewership being such a big ordeal, a big deal, and the reality is the industry's just down. Nobody's watching wrestling like they used to. It's not like WWE's numbers are dropping and other promotions are rising. That's not the case. People are just leaving. People are just stopped watching wrestling. And that's sad, man. That's a scary thing for people who love the sport. I'm sticking through. I've watched all the garbage. I've stuck through the bad storylines. I've been there, and I'm going to continue to be there because I love this fucking sport, and I know you guys do too. So you have to stick through it, and you've got to do your best to know that brighter days are coming. There's ebbs and flows in this industry. It's just how it is. And I do believe that things will get better, and hopefully, maybe it's Jeff Jarrett and Global Force Wrestling. I highly doubt it, but maybe it is. He seems to be coming to a lot of deals with a lot of different promotions. Maybe they can do something and make a challenge, because it's not TNA, and it's never going to be TNA. They keep making moves like this Kurt Angle bullshit and wonder why the company isn't going anywhere. Let's bring in Bobby Lashley as he continues to train for an MMA career. Let's give him a short title reign and then take it off of him so he can go fight a real fight. How fucking stupid is that? It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody wants to see them competing in both things at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense for that to happen. Man, this beanie is badass because it's my Wounded Warrior beanie, but it keeps sliding up my dome, I can tell you that. But look, that's all I got. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of content here. And this went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I think it's been good. I got to talk about a lot of good subjects. Please comment below. Check out everything that's going on. Subscribe, like. Tell me what you're thinking. Tweet me on Twitter at DeadOnDaveV. Make sure you check out Monetize This with Joe Cronin, Tommy C, probably Jesse, whole bunch of guys. Who knows who's going to show up? You never know. Monetize This tonight. 11:30 Eastern Standard Time on Spectrum Gaming 617. You can also check me out with Tommy C and In the Crease with Tommy C, a little morning ice every day, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, check out all those shows, and make sure you check out Shot from the Point and the Joe Cronin Show weekly Raw review. Check out all those things. We're all working hard on this content, so a little bit of support. Tweet us, share us. Let's grow this thing together. This wrestling community is a great thing. Let's keep it going. Stay strong. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me again. Till next time, bitches. Peace.